Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, also writing as Jennifer K. Lambert, author of epic fantasy romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Mm, delicious. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, and we're heading into part two of my uh, breakdown of book tour for Never the Roses, which was fantastic. Spoiler alert. Um, we left on the Saturday morning, so I will tell you everything. But to be right up front with a few things, lest I forget, like I mentioned at the very end of the episode last week, that yes, the book debuted at number 29 on the USA Today bestseller list. I am thrilled. I'm delighted. First time that's happened to me. And I saw my book in the JFK airport, which some of us argue is like an even better accomplishment because airport book. Also, I wanted to show you all that I got the UK edition of Never the Roses. I got a whole box of these too. Isn't that beautiful? So you can kind of see the difference. Let me do a compare and contrast. US is in my right hand, which I don't even know. It's near the wind chimes, thus the clinging, clanging. So you will see that the UK edition is bigger, not necessarily better, but the sprayed edges are much brighter. And if you look and see that the rose is actually set off in like a glossy, I don't even know what you would call that, like the rose is very glossy compared to the rest of the cover, and it doesn't blend into the background like the rest of like the rose on the US edition. Um, it's interesting because the US edition has the tagline at the top: Unstoppable War, Unspeakable Sins, Impossible Love. And the UK edition says Unstoppable War, Impossible Love. So they left off the Unspeakable Sins. Why? The Brits don't like Unspeakable Sins. I don't know. I didn't open this up to see how the UK edition looked on the inside. Oh, it's purple. Look at this. It's purple with gold on the spine. There is no case stamp on this. I'm seeing what else. The map is there. Everything else is pretty much the same. There aren't the same end papers, but purple. That's pretty cool. The US edition is black with the case stamp. So that's super cool to see, huh? And then I also received the International Trade Paperback, which also came from the Tour UK team. So this is a tall trade paperback. It is more the size of it's still taller than the US hardback. But again, the rose is offset in this very glossy, um, I want to say like printing, it's or laminated. I don't know. The rest of the cover is matte, and the rose is very, very glossy. So it really shows those burnt edges of the rose. And this is only available internationally, thus the international paperback uh, description, name, title. Yeah, so very cool, huh? Beautiful, beautiful books. Yeah, so it's fun to see the different editions. And now I got them all set up over my shoulder. There's one down there that I haven't been able to show you yet because it's secret, but it shouldn't be secret for too much longer. All right, and then before I forget, I might remember to mention at the end of the episode, I don't know if I will do a podcast on Friday because I will be at San Diego Comic Con. So we shall see. Maybe I will. But I always say maybe I will, and then I never do. I don't know why that is. It's like yeah, I probably won't because Friday is a free day for me, and I don't think I'm going to want to like put on makeup and all that. I think I'm just going to go to the pool or the beach or something. But you never know. Y'all could get lucky if having a podcast from me counts as being lucky. So, anyway, where we last left our heroine on book tour, it was Columbus Book Festival. And I did that signing at the Steamy Lit booth on Saturday morning. I don't know if I mentioned what a comedy of errors Saturday was. Starting out Saturday morning, my mouse stopped working. And I thought, well, it needs a new battery, right? What bad timing. So I called down to the desk and I asked, is there somewhere I can buy a battery? A AA battery. And he said, oh, we'll just send one up. I'll have engineering send one up. This was at the Junto, who they were great. They were lovely. Well, didn't come before I left for this signing at Steamy Lit booth. So, which I was late to. I think I already told this whole story. I got there late and all of these things. And I wore high heels and I shouldn't have because I was like walking through wet grass. And what was I thinking? So, but I brought my flat sandals with me and traded them out. Oh, we have a trapped kitty. Please stand by. So after the signing, I went back to the main library where they had a green room where they fed us lunch, which was lovely of them. So I had lunch, and there I ran into Vivian Shaw and Arkady Martin and Amal Elmotar. And it was funny because Vivian at least did a double take saying, I didn't realize you were going to be here because, of course, Jennifer K. Lambert was there, not Jeffy Kennedy. Although, even though we're never in the same room at the same time, we're actually the same person. So I had a nice lunch with them, and then I went back to the hotel, and a battery had never arrived. And so I stopped at the desk, and I said, is there somewhere nearby I could buy a battery? And the guy at the desk like hit his forehead because it turned out it was him I'd talked to that morning. And he's like, I even wrote it down and I forgot. He said, just wait a moment. And he called engineering right then. And a guy brought me 2 AA batteries. And I was like, oh, well, how lovely. So I go up to my room, put the AA battery into my mouse. Does not work. And so it was like, okay, great. So then I call down to the desk and I say, is there somewhere nearby I can buy a new mouse? Because it turns out the mouse is broken. And he says, no, there just isn't. Because downtown Columbus, Ohio was lovely. We were across from the Science and Nature Museum. The big library was there. All of these wonderful, beautiful things. And yet no stores, nothing. Just a total desert shopping wise. And I kind of looked on the Google Maps, I'm like, I know I'm trying not to use Google Maps, but it's the easiest way to find stores. But I didn't find anything. And he said, no, you're going to have to order one. It would just take you'd have to like go out. And I looked, I would like have to take a lift to out to an Office Depot or some such to buy a new mouse. And I might as well do like Instacart, which I hadn't really done before, but this seemed like a good circumstance to save me time and aggravation. So I signed up for Instacart, successfully buy this mouse. I'm feeling good about myself. It's going to come in like half an hour because I use an external mouse with my laptop. It's very, I hate the little touchpad thing. And I use my mouse pretty extensively with my spreadsheets. So, and I was feeling kind of stymied that I couldn't do things because I didn't have a working mouse. So then I get an email from Instacart saying that my order has been canceled because they think that I'm committing fraud. And they they send me this list of things to do to prove who I am, including holding my driver's license and credit card like up next to my face or something like this. And I was like, screw this shit. So I think I did this before I asked the desk because then I tried again, like, where can I buy a mouse? And oh no, I forget the order of things. Anyway, he tells me to use GoPuff, which is a thing in Columbus. He says they will deliver to the hotel. They've delivered for other guests. So I am trying to do this. A huge rainstorm has come sweeping in. I'm in my hotel room and it's this gorgeous torrential Midwestern downpour. And both the cell signal and the wireless keep dropping out in the midst. And I get GoPuff to work mostly, except then it tells me that my credit card is wrong. Like the information's wrong. And I don't know if it's because like the wireless is dropping out all the time or the cell signal's dropping out. But anyway, it's getting to be time for me to go for my afternoon panel. And I really did not want to be late again. And I'm wondering, are they going to have it even because of this sideways rain and everything? And I had previously spotted the author's stage, the tent with the author's stage. So I I get a lift over to the library, and in the car, I'm even like trying to get the GoPuff thing to work, re-entering my credit card number, a credit card that I know is perfectly good. Nope. So it's like, ah. So I go in and I go to the author check-in like I'm supposed to, and I ask them if they're going to have this still, and they're like, "Yeah, we go ahead." They said the good thing is at least people come into the tent if it's raining hard. And I ask them, "Is there anywhere I can buy a mouse?" I feel like that children's book, right? Are you my mother? It's like, can you tell me where I can buy a mouse? And I said, because I don't see any stores downtown. And they said, no, it's an absolute retail desert. You cannot buy anything downtown. But then this one lovely librarian, Abby, offers to give me her backup mouse. She says it's a corded mouse, but if I can give it back to her the next day, she just needs it for Monday morning. And really, it's her backup for her wireless mouse. Like, this is clearly what I need to travel with. So she gives me that. I put it in my purse. I run off in my flat sandals to the author tent, and I'm talking with Nevo, who I don't think I'd met before. And then Vivian Shaw shows up, and I'm like, "Are you on this panel, Vivian?" And she said, "Yeah, I am." And I'm getting progressively more confused. And it turns out I am in the wrong place. And they said, "Oh, you need to be in author tent number 2." I was like, well, I'd spotted the one, I hadn't spotted the other. So I go racing off to the other one, and those don't look like the people on my panel either. So I finally find someone, and this is like entirely my fault because they had like given me the whole schedule and everything. Like somehow I never processed looking at which space my panel was in, and it turned out it was inside, back at the library. So I go booking over there. It is still raining, although not so hard, but everything is soggy. And so I get there, and the people are like standing out in front, looking anxiously. One guy's on his like literal walkie talkie, and they're like, "Oh, we just put out an APB for you." It's like, oh my God. So then I sit down and I'm flustered, and I am in between Andrea Stewart and Ehibor Okosun. And Ehibor is like asking me questions about Grace Draven because it turns out that Ehi is from, uh, I have no words, Austin. She's from Austin, and she had wanted to make the event with Grace and me, but she had like been flying in from somewhere else and then had to fly to Columbus. So she's asking me how Grace is doing, and other people are like trying to introduce themselves, and I'm completely flustered. We do a panel, we have a great time. Uh, I go back to the hotel, and uh, I don't know, like I couldn't get a seat at the restaurant, at the rooftop bar again, and I end up sitting in this weird seat. I still cannot get a mouse delivered. They keep saying that well, I tried one more time, but I have my corded mouse, so I'm able to do a few of the work things I needed to do. Then I go up to have dinner at the rooftop restaurant, but it's Saturday night and they're packed. So they say, well, what you can do is you can sit outside in this part of the roof. Because I could have like sat at the bar, but I didn't. I don't like sitting at the bar. They always want to do that to singles, and no. So they said, well, you can sit outside and then order food from the bar and take it out there. It's like no table service, but whatever. And so I'm a little cranky about that. It was just a bad day. It's weird how some days are like that. So I go outside, I pick my spot, I have my book and my phone because I'm just charging things to my room. And I go and I sit down for a few minutes, catch my breath, and then I leave my book and my phone there to reserve my table, go inside, order a glass of wine, order my dinner. I go back outside and my book and my phone are gone. I'm like, what the hell? So I go back inside, and the manager, who I'd actually met the night before, is there holding my phone and like my boarding pass, and he's trying to call. And I'm like, is that my phone? And he's like, oh, yeah, I found it. You left it outside. I'm like, I left it on the table I was going to eat my dinner at. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he said, making all of these excuses. And I'm like, yeah, I was told I had to come inside and get my food. So I just left my things there. And he's like, yeah, we just thought someone had left it. And I said, in my book? Do you have my book? And he goes, oh, was that your book too? And he said, because the whole Junto was like book themed. And so they would bring you your check in a book. And he thought that like that book had been the one that they brought the check in. Never mind that it was like a brand new hardback, Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. So, and that's where he like found my boarding pass with my name on it, and etc. So that was kind of it for that evening. I did walk over to another hotel for a new author gathering that Ehi had talked me into attending, and there were just a few people there, and like I don't know, it was weird. I ended up sitting there for a while with like no one introducing themselves to me or asking who I was. And then it turned out it was a lot of debut authors, which I should not wrinkle my nose and say that because I don't have any, obviously no judgment there, but I think they like not used to the social skills thing. So then on Sunday, I'm still not going to make it through the book tour, am I? Sunday, I had a couple of things. I had to look and see what I did Sunday. I only had one thing on Sunday. I had a panel at 1:30. So Sunday morning, I got up, refreshed, tried the GoPuff thing again, worked instantly. Boom! I had a mouse delivered to me in 30 minutes. It was crazy. It was like, oh, today is another day. Today you're allowed to have things work. I treated myself to brunch at the rooftop bar, the damn rooftop bar, and had amazing meal, chicken and waffles, and this wonderful coffee. Before that, I worked on this revision, and that helped ground me too. One thing I really know about myself is, although I forget it regularly, is that I feel best when I'm making progress on whatever thing I'm supposed to be writing. So I spent quite a few hours writing that morning and doing these other things, and it was great. And then we had a lovely panel with Niveau and PH Lowe. And I forgot to mention that on Saturday, too, after each of these panels, we had an hour-long signing, and I signed so many books, and everybody was so great. And then I had a very quiet Sunday evening. I eat dinner at this tavern on the street and had a steak that was too tough and overly salted, and I still had a good time, and I went to bed early. And then in the morning, I flew to New York City, and that was amazing. And I'm trying to figure out what to do because I'm almost out of time. Maybe I'll just finish this out since I probably won't do podcasts later in the week. So long one today. So then let's see, what day is this? It's Monday, and there's going to be too much to tell. Yeah, it's going to be like another 20 minutes. Okay. We're just going to have to do a part 3. Sorry. Yeah, so maybe I will really try to do this podcast on Friday. We'll see what I do. I'm going to make myself a big note. So, I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope you're having a good week. I hope that the the fates are conspiring to give you a day where things work. And I will talk to you all very soon. You all take care. Bye bye.